13-year-old Lily is a shy girl grappling with the struggles of adolescence. Ever since her parents' divorce, she's had difficulty connecting with them. Her only companion is a ginger mutt named Hagen, with whom she spends all her free time. When Lily's mother leaves for a business trip to Australia, she asks her ex-husband Daniel to take care of their daughter and Hagen. Daniel works at a slaughterhouse and hasn't seen Lily since she was a young child. Although he's not thrilled about having a dog in his home, he agrees for Lily's sake. Struggling to relate to his daughter, Daniel awkwardly gifts her a bottle of soap bubbles. Upon arriving at Daniel's apartment, his landlord informs him that dogs aren't allowed. Daniel tries to convince her that Hagen's stay will be short-lived. During dinner, Lily sneaks food to Hagen, which frustrates Daniel, leading to an argument about respecting the rules in his home. Later that night, Lily wants Hagen to sleep in her room, but Daniel insists on locking the dog in the bathroom. Hagen whines in distress, keeping everyone awake. To soothe her beloved pet, Lily plays the Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2 on her trumpet. The calming tune puts Hagen to sleep, and Lily curls up beside him in the bathroom. The next morning, Daniel is awakened by a knock at the door. An animal control inspector arrives after receiving complaints from the neighbors. Daniel tries to hide Hagen, but the dog emerges from the bathroom. The inspector informs Daniel that under a new law, he must pay a tax for keeping an unregistered stray dog. Furious, Daniel refuses to pay for a dog that belongs to his ex-wife. Overhearing the conversation, Lily grows anxious, fearing her father will send Hagen to an animal shelter. Not wanting to leave him alone, she sneaks Hagen with her to music school, hiding him in a storage room. However, the loud music spooks Hagen, causing him to bolt out of the room and disrupt the class. The furious teacher orders Lily to remove the dog and return to class. Unwilling to leave her beloved pet, Lily decides to leave with Hagen. On their way home, Daniel catches up to her in his car after receiving a call from the music teacher. Angry, he insists they take Hagen to an animal shelter. Lily, heartbroken, pleads with her father to pay the tax so she can keep her best friend, but Daniel refuses. In a moment of frustration, Daniel pulls over and abandons Hagen on the street, ignoring his daughter's tearful pleas. Hagen tries desperately to chase after the car, but he can't keep up and soon finds himself stranded in the middle of a busy highway. That night, Lily plans to search for him and goes to the kitchen to grab some meat, but her father catches her and sends her back to bed. Meanwhile, Hagen waits loyally at the spot where he was abandoned, hoping for Lily to return, but she never comes. Hungry and alone, he sets off in search of food. He stumbles upon a dog that has been hit by a car and contemplates eating the carcass, but ultimately decides to keep looking. Following a scent, Hagen discovers a butcher's shop and gazes longingly at the meat inside. Suddenly, Hagen's attention is caught by a small white dog who urges him to follow. The dog leads Hagen to a market's back alley, where a few other strays are finishing off scraps of meat. When Hagen tries to approach the food, the other dogs bark at him aggressively. Hearing the commotion, the butcher rushes over and chases the dogs away. Hagen stands his ground and barks at the butcher, enraging him even more. The ginger dog hides in the cutting room, but the butcher, armed with a knife, finds him and prepares to kill him. Just in time, the white dog intervenes, biting the butcher's leg and saving Hagen. The white dog then takes Hagen to an abandoned yard where a pack of strays joyfully splash through puddles and drink from them. Hagen tries to join the group, but the dogs don't accept him, forcing him and his white friend to watch from a safe distance. The next day, the dog catchers arrive at the yard, and Hagen and his friend must flee to avoid being captured. Hagen is cornered by two catchers, but the white dog warns him of the danger, allowing Hagen to squeeze through the bars and escape. He runs through city alleys, eventually finding refuge with a homeless man. After the catchers leave, the man feeds the unsuspecting dog and ties a rope around his neck. Meanwhile, Daniel takes Lily to her music school, forcing her to apologize for her actions. She convinces both her father and the teacher that she won't search for Hagen anymore, admitting he was only trouble. However, after class, Lily returns to the spot where they abandoned Hagen but doesn't find him. Determined, she continues searching the nearby streets and hangs up missing posters everywhere. That evening, the homeless man sells Hagen to a restaurant owner in exchange for a few bills and a plate of food. The owner, who illegally deals in stray dogs, later sells Hagen to a man named Sabolch, who is looking for a dog to fight in an underground club. The dealer tries to persuade him to take a more aggressive dog, warning that Hagen is too gentle and his skin is too thin. But Sabolch is confident he can turn Hagen into a fierce fighting dog. He feeds Hagen sleeping pills and takes him home. When Hagen wakes up, Sabolch feeds him protein supplements to bulk him up. To build aggression, Sabolch regularly beats him with a whip and subjects him to grueling training. Over time, Hagen's friendliness vanishes and he transforms into a ruthless beast, ready to destroy any opponent. Meanwhile, Lily doesn't give up her search. She visits an animal shelter and asks if anyone has seen Hagen, but the owner tells her that it's unlikely her dog survived. He may have been hit by a car or drowned in a river. While at the shelter, Lily's bike is stolen, leaving her stranded far from home. That night, Sabolch takes Hagen to the underground fight club to test him. The rules are simple. 2 angry dogs fight, and the one left standing wins. The owner of the winning dog takes home a big prize. Hagen is pitted against a large black Rottweiler. At first, Hagen struggles, but in a critical moment, he tears through his opponent's throat, winning the match. As Sabolch celebrates, Hagen stares blankly as the Rottweiler's body is carried away. One spectator is impressed by Hagen and tries to buy him, but Sabolch refuses, leading to an argument. Suddenly, the lights go out, and Sabolch panics, thinking someone has stolen the dog. Taking advantage of the chaos, Hagen escapes his tormentor. At the same time, Lily is running through the night streets on her way home when she bumps into Peter, a classmate from music school. Not wanting to return to her father, she asks Peter to take her to a nightclub. Initially hesitant, Peter agrees and decides to use Lily to smuggle a bag of weed into the club. The teenagers enter the club posing as a couple, and the security guard quietly lets them in, despite Lily being underage. Once inside, Peter abandons Lily to enjoy himself with an older girl, leaving Lily feeling jealous. Upset, she decides to get drunk and ends up passing out on the club floor. The next morning, the police arrive and find the weed on her. Lily is taken to the station, where she undergoes a drug test. The results come back negative, and the officers release her into the custody of her concerned father, Daniel. Overcome with guilt, Daniel apologizes to Lily, realizing how badly things could have turned out, and suggests adopting another dog from the shelter. Lily forgives him, but tells her father she no longer wants a dog, and they return home. The next day, Daniel prepares to leave for work, but worries that Lily might run away again. She reassures him and convinces him to go. Meanwhile, Hagen returns to the abandoned yard and reunites with his white dog friend. They play near the river and scavenge for food, but their peace is once again disrupted by the dog catchers. This time, they are both caught and taken to a shelter. At the shelter, the staff notice that Hagen's paw is injured, so they send him for treatment. While waiting in the treatment room, the dogs watch a Tom and Jerry cartoon, but Hagen notices a sick dog being euthanized in the next room. Thankfully, he avoids this fate and, after treatment, is placed in a cage with other stray dogs. However, unlike the others, Hagen refuses to touch the food, having lost all trust in humans. The following day, visitors come to the shelter looking to adopt. One of them is drawn to Hagen, but when she approaches his cage, he becomes aggressive and lunges at her. The shelter owner orders the staff to deal with the mad dog. Meanwhile, Lily is performing at her music school concert, with Daniel in the audience to support her. As the shelter staff tries to put Hagen into a cage with other dogs, he breaks free and viciously attacks the handler, biting his neck and killing him. Hundreds of dogs escape their cages, following Hagen, who they now recognize as their leader. When the shelter owner tries to intervene, Hagen easily overpowers her, and the rest of the dogs pour out onto the streets, causing panic among the city's residents. Hungry and enraged, the dogs attack bystanders and snatch food from them. The pack eventually surrounds the concert hall where Lily is performing, forcing the audience to barricade themselves inside while awaiting police assistance. Lily believes Hagen is among the strays and decides to search for him. Despite the danger, Peter helps her escape the concert hall and lends her his bike. Lily races through the deserted streets, hoping to find Hagen and stop the chaos. Suddenly, the pack emerges from an alley, knocking Lily off her bike. Instead of attacking her, the dogs continue running, as though they have a specific target in mind. Now leading the pack, Hagen seeks revenge on those who wronged him. The first victim is the restaurant owner who sold him to Sabolch. The dogs tear the man apart, leaving bloody paw prints on the restaurant's windows. Lily, still chasing the pack, is the first to discover the gruesome scene. She is quickly detained by the police for violating curfew and placed in a patrol car for her safety. The girl manages to escape and makes her way to the butcher's shop, where she discovers the butcher's body, torn apart by Hagen's pack. Overcome with nausea at the bloody scene, Lily fights through her shock to call Daniel, telling him that she plans to find Hagen before the police do, fearing they'll shoot him. Although the police manage to corner and shoot a few of the dogs, most of the pack escapes and continues their rampage. Meanwhile, Sebulch watches the news, horrified by reports of the stray dogs wreaking havoc in an organized manner. Hagen, along with his pack, arrives at Sebulch's place to settle the score. Hagen signals the dogs to attack, standing by with his teeth bared as they brutally tear his tormentor apart. Elsewhere, the white dog finds Lily and leads her, signaling her to follow him as he can take her to Hagen. However, an animal control officer blocks their path and shoots the defenseless dog. Despite Lily's heart-wrenching pleas, the officer approaches and finishes him off. Devastated, Lily runs home, only to find her landlord's lifeless body. Now certain that Hagen's pack is targeting specific people, she realizes Daniel could be next. Lily races to her father's workplace to warn him. Daniel, fearing for his daughter's safety, heads to the slaughterhouse to find weapons. Meanwhile, Hagen and his pack corner Lily in the street. She tries to talk to Hagen, but after all he's been through, he no longer trusts her. He approaches her slowly, baring his teeth, ready to attack at any moment. Just then, Daniel emerges from the building with a blowtorch in hand, trying to fend off the dogs and save his daughter. This only agitates the pack further, and they start barking aggressively at Daniel. Lily, in tears, tries to calm both her father and the dogs, but her efforts seem futile. Desperate, she decides to play the Rhapsody on her trumpet, a tune she once played for Hagen. Upon hearing the familiar melody, Hagen's demeanor softens, and he lies down, finally calmed. One by one, the rest of the pack follows suit, laying down and listening to the soothing music. In a state of disbelief, Daniel realizes that the danger has passed and Lily is safe. When Lily finishes playing, she lies down across from Hagen and his pack. As dawn breaks, Daniel joins them. Thank you for watching the video, and if you like the video, click on like button, comment, share, and subscribe.